This review's been going on so long. I think we've reached after hours. That Weeknd's gonna bleed on us. How do you think Weeknd hurt his face?
How do you think what?
How Weeknd hurt his face.
How?
How do you think? I don't know. I don't have any idea.
I have no idea.
You think he tripped or something?
Probably.
Or he just had a really bad nosebleed?
The blinding lights let him trip.
Time to go over the latest Weeknd album, After Hours.
Wow. The Weeknd is a Toronto singer, songwriter, and record producer in the pop and alternative R&B field. He had a trilogy of mixtapes back in 2011, but then his real groundbreaking material was Beauty Behind the Madness back in 2015, where he released great tracks like Can't Feel My Face and The Hills, which is the best one. Then he kind of went into some more like synth heavy material, teaming up with Daft Punk for Starboy back in 2016.
Only had a couple of tracks, but he got more like
I mean, I guess that was like, this reminds me of like when Justin Bieber started teaming up with like Skrillex and stuff. But like the Weeknd teaming up with Daft Punk to release Starboy, I think was a really good decision for him.
Yeah.
And then in 2018, he released My Dear Melancholy, we're waiting for the pause here, but there was nothing after it. I was back in 2018. It was only like 2-3 tracks.
No, it was like 5 or 6 or something like that. Yeah, it felt like infinity. That was like one of our least favorite projects of that year.
Yeah, that was really bad.
Bland. It was just empty. It didn't lead anywhere. Like, it seemed like Weeknd was on AI. There was like nothing characteristically interesting. Whether it's him, the production, the lyricism, anything that showcased any human qualities or anything capable of human emotion. It just felt flat. It was completely one-dimensional character.
Yeah.
And performance on that thing, and it just was so small but also like boring at the same time. It felt like infinity, even though it was only like 20-something minutes. This new album I was interested in because like the singles leading up to it were like, they were very tolerable. I didn't listen to him more than like once, but like I was interested in seeing, okay, he's gonna move past this like very boring trajectory into something really more exciting. And I think what it leads to, it's probably his best album, even though to its form it still has things that I think Weeknd's been kind of dealing with his entire career, that like these faults that he can't really get past. But like the synth pop on this like is fucking amazing. Like the synth work is incredible at times, like especially on the track Hardest to Love. Like it reminds me of like the Uncut Gems soundtrack, like a couple of the tracks I've heard off that, which One of Tricks Point never did, and he produces a couple tracks on here as well. It's just completely breathless and mythical synths that are just completely warming to the ears, and Weeknd's performance just meshes so brilliantly on top of it. Like his performance on this is great. The thing that's the fault is that like I find the lyricism to just be so like it's not bad enough to take away, or it's not terrible to take away the enjoyment of the tracks. It's passable, but like there really isn't anything there. And when he does showcase like a personality, it always comes off as like super edgy.
Yeah, this is like not to compare him to Watsky, but I think you see like where I'm going with this. He just or James Blake, that's a better one.
Yeah.
Where he's just like, oh, she doesn't like me, like I hope she likes me, kind of thing. And like I don't know, like this is just really, it's
like pseudo emo rap.
Yeah.
Like it's like,
yeah,
it's
in
like,
a sense.
At times it feels very like high school with some of the stuff he's saying. And it's just like I don't.
There is some like good stuff on here. Like
there's amazing performances and production, but the lyricism and the character of Weeknd, besides the performance, is the thing that takes away the biggest.
Exactly. Yeah, I would have to agree with that wholeheartedly.
And it's just like sometimes it just like he says something that is just like undoubtedly just like edgelord material, like just something I would say in like high school, just like get attention. It's just that it doesn't like he's way too old to be this edgy.
Yes. Yeah.
Like he's not a SoundCloud rapper making like lo-fi beats. Like he doesn't need to be in this terrain. Like and like when he is out of that territory, it's still like it's just like basic pop. Like there really isn't anything true to form that like makes it ambitious or showcases a broader scope of how he's developed as a person. That was really what I was really looking for here. We just get a bunch of good pop tunes, but like not a ton of character outside that. But there are some terrific moments. I love Hardest to Love. That is my favorite track on here. I'm surprised that wasn't a single. That is the best track on here. It's so beautiful, ambitious. The synth patches are just fantastic. After Hours is good. Blinding Lights, the singles to this, I actually enjoy more now than I did initially.
I agree.
Repeat After Me interlude's fantastic. It's ambitious and almost void-like area, ether-like material on there. Escape from LA is a little bit long-winded. That's probably the track I like the least, but it still holds its own and progresses well. The production's on, it's fine. The synth patches, the retro, almost 80s style synth pop on here isn't something that I think a lot of artists should strive for because it gets gimmicky, but for The Weeknd, he like fits it perfectly. Like, and it doesn't seem like a gimmick.
Yeah, I feel like he's almost been setting up for something like that for a long time.
With like tracks like Can't Feel My Face and Starboy.
Yeah.
Like, I think this fundamentally as an album works. I just think like I enjoyed this. I think this is a good album. But the character behind it is just something that I've been constantly critiquing Weeknd of having problems with in the lyricism, and there's just no changes in that regards. But listenability, this is phenomenally brilliant production, phenomenally brilliant performances, but I'm just missing a huge chunk of what should make The Weeknd, and that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I just found this quote that The Weeknd released about the album on Apple Music, and it says, "You can find love, fear, friends, enemies, violence, dancing, sex, demons, angels, loneliness, and togetherness, all in the after hours of the night." That tells me absolutely nothing about this album.
Also, there's a vaporwave remix on the deluxe version.
Yeah, I saw that.
Has a Little Uzi I think. It. Yeah. And there's one of Tricks Point.
There's no Kanye West cover of Heartless on here, which is a huge disappointment.
But yeah, I enjoyed this. I think it's a huge improvement comparable to last Weeknd projects because I think as a project it works really well. I just think what should make the Weeknd is fundamentally, and what should separate from other albums is not the production and the performance. It should be the person behind that, and I'm just not getting any of that. But yeah, keep my eye on scores a few Talominos. Right now I'm feeling like a 7. I enjoyed this a lot.
Yeah, I would have to give it about a 7, I think.
Yeah, I think out of all the Weeknd albums, if you die hardly grab onto this album, there's fundamentally nothing wrong with it because I think it's just like it's super catchy. It has great synth work. Like there's nothing to complain about besides like from our standpoint, like Weeknd hasn't progressed in some regards.
No, and I find that like some of the most disappointing. And you say this was like catchy, but I actually found it like way less catchy than Beauty Behind the Madness.
Really? I find it to be his most catchy, in my opinion. Like
I think that tracks like The Hills and like Can't Feel My Face are 20 times like more memorable and catchy than the singles off of this. But like that's not to say that the singles aren't bad.
Yeah.
You know, because I think that they are good. Heartless and Blinding Lights are both really good singles, and there are other really good stuff on here like Hardest to Love, like you mentioned. But I definitely think like his catchiest, most accessible tracks were on his debut. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's neither here nor there. This is the end of the review anyway, so.
Yep. And that is it for the Weeknd. Now it's time to get to a weekday.
Wow, it's good to be back on the grind.